Awesome. Hello, Karine Miller. Oh my lord, it's gonna be great up in here. All right, it's 6 o'clock, so let's get started. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thanks for tuning in. I am so excited. I'm so excited about this. We are going to have a wonderful chat with a great educator who's really passionate about what she does. I've seen her in action over and over and over, and I am thrilled to have her on. We have so much to talk about, and there's so much going on. And I know that many of you are here because you're anxious to learn and to know more, especially as it relates to our little people, the littlest of our people who are so important to us. So I just want to first congratulate all the teachers who are out there doing their very best every day with all that's happening to produce work. I know that you're hardly sleeping. I know that you've had many sleepless nights working on, developing course work for your children, and then putting it on in a format that we're not accustomed to, and especially the little people who you just want to hug and love up, because I tell you, people who are kindergarten teachers and early years teachers are from God. That's not the group that I think I'm the best at teaching. So those of you who are able to do that, I just lift my hat to you. I salute you because you are super. When I say superheroes, I mean nothing short of. So I want to say big up to you and congratulations, because so many of you you've just stepped up and tried your best to do well with very little. So, and that's who we are, especially as Jamaicans, right? When I'm saying when trouble take you, picnic shot fit you. So, so sleeping is overrated. There you go. I know somebody who always says you will sleep when you die, and you will have enough time. But no, it really is amazing how our teachers are working hard, and I know how terribly you must miss your children. So really quickly, we're gonna get into this, and I'm going to invite Kim to come on, because that's really who you're here to with today. And she and I are gonna have a wonderful chat, and I want you to ask questions, make comments. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Renee.
Oh, hold on. I don't see any bags under those eyes.
A little foundation,
It's the foundation.
Clearly, because I've had many sleepless nights.
Oh my gosh. So Kim Edwards is a teacher at AISK. She is, Lord of mercy, where do I start? Just simply phenomenal. And when she teaches a picnic for read, you see, oh my God, she is the reading goddess. I think she should change her handle, actually. And then she's all things creative. My children have been to her summer camp on tons of occasions, Easter camp that she puts on, and many children across, in Kingston have done that as well, where the creativity is just turned up with this woman. And I don't know things of the things that she comes up with. So I want you to, and you can follow her at Creative Hands Summer and see more of what she does. And of course, if we get a chance to come out this summer, you can come out. I don't think that's likely.
No.
But in the future, you can look her up and see some creative ideas that she shares about what she does with her kids. So Kim.
Yes.
What on earth is this?
Wow. It's a revolution, and it's certainly changing the way we teach and everything moving forward. Definitely.
Yeah, right? I mean, last month, this time, we had no idea that this is the turn it would take, right? So what's different for you about it? How is this whole new paradigm different? What do you miss the most about this whole new thing?
Well, first of all, almost none of us teachers thought of becoming great online teachers. This kind of just fell in our laps, right? And so we have to realize that this is something very new, and we're all trying to come to terms with it, even myself as a veteran teacher, right? not being in the classroom, not seeing the smiles, having that interaction and getting the opportunity to really watch them grow and develop. Those are some of the things that I really miss.
Yeah. Like and just routines, right? So tell me some of your routines that you really really miss, like from the start of the day. What do you miss most? Give me some specific things.
The first thing that I miss is shaking everybody's hand to greet them and say good morning, and they usually offload at that point. So they usually have something to say to me, whether it's a compliment, right? Miss Edwards, you look so nice today, and you're rushed to get to work, and those little praises, and those little interaction and small moments that we would have that are not necessarily documented. Those little moments I miss, and being able to greet them in the morning and hug them, touch them,
Yes.
Those are the things that I miss. So we start off our day like that, and the schedule is busy with academics from that point onward. But just having them around.
I know. So how do you compensate for that whole bit? Because I think that's what we lose in all of this. We think technology is everything, but I think we're realizing that there's nothing that can replace this school life and this, because school is important. It does much more than just teach you to read and write. Yeah. So tell me, how do you think? So what are you doing now to compensate for that part of it?
Well, I'm a lovey-dovey teacher, and rightfully so, because I teach kindergarten, right? And I miss, as I said, interacting with them, hugging them, and showing them just how much I really care about them, right? Because that motivates a learner when they're connected to you. And so one of the things that I did, especially going back to distant learning from spring break, was to create a video of moments that we've shared, special moments that we've shared, just for them to remember that place, that warmth, all the learning and love that was there, because especially being at home and then going back to a schedule while being surrounded with, all of your toys and all of those things, it's a struggle, So I wanted to get them really excited about learning, but most importantly, just to remind them just how loved they are and that we are a family and that they have to return to this family. And everybody was excited to see me on Monday when we started back school at AISK online. And I think the video was definitely a part of that magic and wanting to come back.
Right, because it creates some kind of normalcy, right? With them seeing their friends and seeing you and remembering what they've been doing. That's awesome.
And understanding that we have a responsibility to continue our learning, even within this crisis. Miss Edwards is here, she's ready, and you need to get ready too.
Right. So how important do you think routines are at this time?
Routines are everything, you need to have your child on a routine that is flexible, right? So when you think routine, and sometimes people think very rigid, and we have to be very flexible with our thinking and with our scheduling of our time. And just bear in mind that these are young people, and playing is what they are supposed to do,
Yes,
so we have to fit that in.
They
have to fit that in the schedule, and just coming up with an agreement with your child as to what that looks like is important, and having their input, and letting them know that, we have to make a plan on how we're going to get through this. We're not just going to wake up and figure it out, but there is a plan and there's a routine and there's a guide that we would follow, just like when you're physically at school,
Right. So do we have to wake them up at the same time that we would for school?
No.
Asking for a mommy who don't want to that.
Well, remember, I'm a mommy too, so no. And that's what I was talking about, being flexible, She gets to wake up a little, my daughter gets to wake up a little bit later in the morning, and I ease her into the day. She starts off her morning with a conference with her teacher, so she knows what the expectations are. That's important. And it prepares her mentally. When she gets up, she's ready for it because she knows that's what is going to happen for the duration of the day, and she can plan accordingly and mentally wrap her head around it. So let them be flexible with their sleeping time. I think that's part of the joy of distance learning, that you can be a little bit flexible with your time.
Right, and that's one of the things I was going to ask you. Like, what do you think? And what are you enjoying most about this new time? Yes, you can't get to hug them up, and you can't get to kiss them up, but there must be some things about it that is exciting.
You know what the exciting part is? But it's also a nervous part for many teachers is being able to open up your classroom. I'm so happy that I can let down the walls of my classroom and truly invite parents in so they can see the learning, hear the language, understand what the interaction at school looks like. What does it look like? What does it sound like to be in the classroom? And to be honest, there are students within that classroom, right? Because then they are going to help to facilitate some of that learning. So I think that is the exciting part, being able to really invite your parents in and say, this is what learning looks like in kindergarten or whatever grade level you teach. And, owning that and having them become partners in education, they buy into it when they can truly see what's happening, right?
Of course. I mean, and all this, we're talking about all this with parents who are able to do that, right? Who are able to pay attention. And we'll talk some more about those who aren't. But yeah, I think that's a really exciting thing to be able to do, to have your parents actually see what happens in a classroom. And I've been telling myself, that I'm not meant to be a teacher to my two children. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And parents recognize that. So schools and teachers, I think, have to ensure that the kinds of work that they're giving is not work that the parents will have to teach their children. But it's
a continuation of what is already happening in the classroom. That's so important.
Absolutely. So talk a bit about that.
Well, with our schedule, and I kind of started talking about the schedule, just how I greet students, right? We have a set routine, and we've developed a set routine. And even though this is a horrible thing to happen, I want to say it couldn't happen at a better time when we have been settled in school, we've established our routine. We know what kindergarten is about. We know what school is about. And so because the students are so confident, I think that this is a perfect time for them to do distance learning, right? And so developing those routines and understanding what that looks like in the classroom makes it easy to transfer in the house, right? So all of the things that I'm doing are things that we would do, but I want you to know that we're not doing a complete schedule, right? So there
right.
are
so hold on. So you're not packing the day with everything that you would normally do. Is that it?
That is exactly it. It is a tailored schedule because at this point, right, and we would have
nothing is normal.
Nothing is normal. And if we were at school, we would be wrapping up the school year. So the core of what you have already taught is there. That foundation is there, or I hope it is there. You should have already established that, right? So you're just building on that, right? And giving them that latitude, really.
Right. So at this point, kind of help the teachers on here to understand, and the parents to understand what skills you think children need most right now. Like, what do you think in order for them to survive and to be ready to move on for next year? Because I think that's what I hear my friends saying, and everything I read online with people being concerned about what the children are learning at this stage, especially. Explain to us what you think the main things are that children need to have. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Anna.
In order to stay alive. Because we think that them are going dead. Frankly, I just send mine to go lie down today on the grass because I'm like, you will live. You have the raw material.
This too shall pass.
Exactly. So, but tell us what skills teachers should be, ensuring that they're continuing to inculcate, especially in these early years up to, grade 2 and what have you. And then, and for parents to have an understanding of that too.
I'm sure we share different views on this, but the very first thing that I'm going to say is listening and speaking, and that's what we're doing right now, right? And that is what your children will be doing a lot with their distance learning, is listening and speaking. And so I think those are skills that we need to definitely work on during this time, right? And of course, your literacy and math skills are important, right? Notice I didn't mention science or social studies because those things can be infused in your language arts curriculum. You can read a story about science. You can extend that by doing science activities, right? So you don't need to have that as a separate block of time, but it can be easily married with any one of those subjects.
Got you. So in terms of and then with reading, I mean that's ongoing, right? So speak to that a little bit. I know how passionate you are about that. Speak to how that should work because that's something that should be ongoing. Anyhow, COVID or no COVID, correct?
Correct. So we spoke about routines, and reading to your child every night should have already been a routine. So your child hearing a story read out loud should be something that is already established in the home, right? And I mean, separate and apart from having your child listen to a story, you want them to read on their own. So having a leveled book, a book that is on their reading level that they can read, or a little bit above their reading level, to give them that stretch is important. And right now in the crisis that we're in, there's so many free things, right? Which is a good thing. So you don't have to worry about not being able to have those things at school because they're provided online, you know. And one really good resource which has opened up a lot of free things is Raz Kids, and they have levels. You can go ahead and put that in your notes. Raz Kids with a hyphen, right? It has a lot of online reading for children that's free.
And yeah, exactly. So they can just go on, and then the teacher can see also what they've read, correct?
That's correct. They can record their reading, right? So, you know, especially for the busy parents, you know, you can have them record their reading, and that's something that you can listen to at a later date. The teacher can listen to it. Hey, you know what's really powerful? The child can listen to it, and they can hear themselves reading. So, reading is definitely something to focus on during this time.
Absolutely. Listening, speaking, literacy, and numeracy. And when you talk about listening, what does that look like?
Listening, comprehension, being able to listen, absorb information, and understand that in your own terms, right?
Right.
Being able to focus, right, is a part of listening, you know. And
I see somebody saying readworks.org is another site.
So many resources. We could spend all afternoon on those resources because, you know, this is not just unique to any specific place, it's worldwide. So
this is what is so interesting for me, yeah. And Audible and all of these other, you know, book companies and stuff have opened their space up for children to have free access. So yeah, there are many resources.
And as teachers, we need to be information seekers. So, you know, you need to go there, right? You need to go there and find out what is available.
I can't speak to that enough, because that's the only way we're going to. And there's so many people who have done it and who are doing it well. So those are the people who we should be following on Instagram, right? Those are the people who we should be looking at so that we can as teachers, you know, this is when teething is okay.
It is all right.
Yeah, Anna saying that listening, we're still working on that as adults, and you're right, we still are. So it really is important for us to begin to develop those skills in our children right now.
And these are the things that we can't overlook, that a lot of parents tend to overlook, you know. But it's really important. It's really important.
Because if we don't see, I think we've become so, because we're so focused on assessment, and that's the culture, that's the reality, that's the, you know. But I think that in the younger years, we definitely have an opportunity to take our time and ground them in those skills, regardless of what school you're at. Listening, speaking, giving them the opportunity at every point to be able to.
Everybody needs that platform to show their stuff.
Absolutely. Speak to us about speaking in particular.
Well, you know, speaking is communication, and you want to make sure that you're a fluent speaker. And all of these different platforms that we're using to engage the children require them to speak. And best believe it, this is one of the things that my kindergarten students need to work on. Have you ever spoken to a 5-year-old on the phone? What that is like? How they can just not respond to questions, and just the conversation falls flat, you know? So, you know, that's something that they need to work on at this age, you know, and I'm specifically speaking to the younger learners, and even so sometimes for the older ones too. They need to be able to, you know, communicate effectively, listen effectively, you know, and summarize some of the things that they're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm doing that with my children a lot, forcing them to, no, if you have a question, email your teacher. No, you send her a voice note. No,
the ownership is on you, and that's why I love this whole distance learning, because it's putting the responsibility of learning. Lots of people drop off their children at school, and that is it. Everybody needs involved. It's a shared partnership between teachers and parents and students. We are all in this together.
So I mean, even if WhatsApp is what you're using and you don't actually have a platform at your school that they're using and what have you, let your children do some of that. Let them give them the opportunity to do it. To speak, to ask questions, because that's how we're developing the skills that they need. So yes, I hear you, and this is the time to start doing it and practicing. Practicing it. So I'm loving what you're saying about not cramming everything into the schedule and for focusing on those
bite-sized portions is how I like to describe it. Right? You're giving them what they need, small bites, so it's just enough. We don't want to overwhelm them. We don't want to overwhelm the parents, because, as I said, it's a partnership, right? It's teamwork, and we need everybody on board.
So this is the challenge. I hear a lot of complaints from schools, different parents in many schools, about how they're not sitting with the children, or they want, because they're busy at work and focused, and we all have things that we need to get done during the day. They want their 4, 5, and 6-year-old to be in front of a computer screen and getting that learning, all pretty much all day. How do we strike that balance between not burdening parents so that they are able to get stuff done as well, but at the same time able to monitor what happens with their children?
It's tricky, but there are solutions. There's so many things that we can do, right? As teachers, we need to recognize that we need to, as I mentioned before, have a flexible schedule, but flexible deadlines. Don't tell somebody that they have something due at the end of the day. Give them the week, give them that time to do it based on the schedule that they have set up, so that's one thing. I think that can take the burden off of parents, because a lot of parents is like, oh my gosh, your teacher sent this and we have to get it done. Pace yourself, breathe, take the time to really make sure that it's quality and that you're not just rushing through something, right? But you're really investing that quality time. So that's important. I think that if teachers
giving assignments and giving them an opportunity to turn them in over a longer period of time, rather than expecting it to be done that same day.
Right.
But then when I have so many children in my class, it's going to be challenging for me to go back and mark all of these things or look at what they've done. How do I?
Well, if you have a flexible deadline, when I say flexible, there is a deadline. You do need to submit it by some time. You, as a teacher, can pace yourself, because everybody's not turning in the work all at once. You don't have a long line at your desk for everybody to come and check their work. Some students will be motivated and are on top of things and turn in things daily, while some other students might do it every other day. So just having that flexible state of mind is helpful for everybody. It's helpful for the teacher, the parent, and the student.
Right. And that takes us right back to this whole thing where we all just need to take a chill pill,
breathe, relax.
And we need to breathe. Especially, I mean, I get the people who are doing PEP and those older, ones with older students being anxious about getting back into real work, school, formal school. But I feel that especially parents of younger children need to understand that your child going to live. Your child going to be
and it's not your child alone who's that. We're all affected, and it's okay.
Right, as Rebel Hibiscus saying, and teachers need to adjust the kinds of assignments being given.
Amen. We have to, and that's one of the beauties of distance learning and how it's going to change the future, because this whole paper and pencil, remember I spoke about speaking, being able to present yourself, those are important skills. Those are the things that you use every day as an adult, when you're communicating with people. So
absolutely,
it's just, those are the things that we really need to focus on.
Yeah, I think out of all of this, we're going to come away figuring out that what we have been thinking is most important really just is not.
Yeah,
right?
This is a time of reflection. I mean, all the things that you thought were important, maybe not too much.
Right. I'm seeing Rebel Hibiscus saying in New York City, there's an unspoken policy that no teacher is going to fail a kid. That removes some pressure on teachers and students. Absolutely.
As with the
Absolutely.
flexible deadlines too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I was hearing about teachers giving homework. No homework. Them doing homework all day.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to readjust. We have to readjust our expectations and our whole thinking. And I know it's going to take time for us because we've been accustomed to doing it this way and doing it this way for a long time. So it's gonna take some pausing by all of us. I mean, the policymakers, everybody's going to have to rethink this stuff, because it just cannot. It's not business as usual. And when we get out of this, it can't be as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So something else I wanted to touch on as we were talking about just how to make this more manageable for everybody, right? Is those teacher-created videos, how powerful they are. And it really, really allows the learner to learn at their pace when you're creating videos and you're sending it to them and they can watch it and rewatch it and the parents can see.
And parents can, yeah.
Right? That's important. And just even sending out the schedule for the entire week so that they can see that scope and sequence and parents can buy into where are we going with this? Why did the teacher send this? What we have to do tomorrow?
Right.
I know where we're going with this,
Exactly.
So that's so important. So we're planning like we've never planned before because we just have to get everything all together.
And out. Yep. This I tell you, I mean, I see how the workload that teachers are having to do right now as being way more than they've ever had to. And they're digging deep. I see Nicola saying, I think readjust thinking but not expectations. Absolutely. I agree with that completely, that expectations must always remain high. But definitely we have to readjust the way we think about things, for sure,
and how we go about doing them.
Absolutely. They can do simple presentations, oral speaking, someone is saying, to explain, for example, what they have learned.
Love absolutely. That. And that's something, when we talk about making learning exciting for children, you know what my daughter is really into right now? Doing DIYs. So why not have them create a video or something to really explain that? We have so many budding YouTubers and students that are already doing YouTube. So why not connect that with their learning and have them create some of these videos to share with their classmates? How powerful is that? And how interesting, right?
How interesting, and you can assess so much by them having them do that.
Right. Absolutely. Online learning typically is just boring and unappealing, and so we really have to dig deep and connect with our learners to get rid of that stigma. This is something boring and just,
Yeah, I agree. Students are given a unique user. Oh, someone is telling us about Smart Term, which is available for free during the school closure. It's a learning management system, and also the government has zero-rated some websites that parents can use. It facilitates video calling, submission of videos, lesson plans, discussion board, and more. Yeah. So I see Rebel Hibiscus saying everyone needs to reset. If that is not true, we don't know what. Students are given a unique surname password. Great. What can I do as a parent? There's a question here.
Hi, Stacia, by the way, I see that.
What can I do as a parent to help my child be engaged in distance learning? He's 6 with a very short attention span.
And we need to keep that in mind. And that's why we should not have these children in front of a device all day long. We need to have planned activities that are engaging, that are hands-on. So, even if you do go to the device, you're just gathering that information, but it's to move off to do something else, But sitting in front of the computer and trying to get learning done that way is not going to be very effective. And those are just some of the things, engaging activities.
And, give me an example of what an engaging activity would be.
All right. So we had Earth Day yesterday, and I really, really wanted my students to do something that was fun and meaningful, but something that they would enjoy, And at this stage, I mentioned that they enjoy creating things, being creative, right? And it's something clearly that I enjoy doing. So I said, what can they do? Of course, there are all of these worksheets and packets and little things for them to do. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have them create nature crowns, right? Everybody's going to go outside and collect some leaves and sticks and create a nature crown. And to marry with what they had done at home, I then found pictures and images of things that we have done throughout the school year that have showed and documented our learning about how we've been caring for the earth, and then put those pictures together to create a video. And they loved it, because again, they saw, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that when we were doing this at the beginning of the year that it led up to this moment.
But it's connecting all the dots,
it's
right?
connecting all the dots and still bringing them back to that happy place, right?
Yeah.
That really, really gets them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I see Rebel Hibiscus saying everything needs resetting. Teacher design, lessons, teacher prep programs, etc. Everyone needs to start over. I agree. What would you say to an aspiring teacher right now? Somebody who's thinking of, or who is in early childhood education right now at teachers college, or what do you say to them to get them to keep their interest, and then where do they move from here in this new paradigm? Because none of what is in their textbooks would really be relevant, right? So what you say to them, what do they need?
Are you ready for the 21st century? Do you have those tech tools and skills? Spend some time learning about that. It's not just about what is in the textbook, because what is in the textbook certainly is not going to prepare you for what's happening in the classroom right now, and it's an exciting time to be in education. You're going to be part of a great change, and so who wouldn't want to be on board with that?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Cooking, puzzles, writing letters, Lego, laundry. Laundry can be a learning activity.
What? Sorting, counting, right? And then there's so many different ways to sort, because maybe your child first will look at it and say, I'm going to sort by colors. I could sort by the type of garment. There's so many things. And that's why when parents say, I want more work, you have work at home already. So thank you for sharing that about sorting laundry, because those simple activities, there's power and magic in those simple things.
Yeah, so, I think that's the kind of encouragement of activities that I think that they need to be giving parents, so that and giving the students to do, so that the learning can continue in the kitchen. I've never done so much cooking with my children. They're measuring every chance I get. I say, so how much? What did the recipe say? How and what is a half? And what is a third? And we have so many discussions about that. Yes, exactly. So there's somebody saying hopscotch. Oh yes, I did hopscotch the other day. Lord help me, I did hopscotch the other day. So yes.
Those simple activities. So when you're looking, especially for early childhood teachers, when you're looking for activities, what am I going to do? Rather than just doing all of these worksheets and all that, do these simple games and share guiding questions for parents, because sometimes the parents don't understand the magic in these activities. To share some guiding questions. Yes. These are some of the things that you should look for. These are some of the things that you should ask your child. If you're not sure what kind of questions to ask, and then create a video of them doing it, and let's share that with the class. How fun is that?
Yeah, awesome. Somebody is saying, how do we reach students whose living conditions don't allow for them to participate in these kinds of activities? That's really important. I saw a clip that was going around on WhatsApp with persons in a community in West Kingston, up on their roofs, right? On top of the building, and people were like, them don't know say it's curfew, why the whole of them outside there? But I'm like, listen, that's the most cool place, and it probably makes more sense for people to be up in the open like that than in the environment in which they have to sleep, because it may be too crowded. So yes, that's a very valid question. Like, what activities do you do for children who are in a room maybe, and who just are not able to get outside as much? We thankfully we live in the tropics, and so in many places you can be outside in your yard. But what do you think about that? What kinds of activities do you do?
Well, Renee, all of those things can still be done. They still have laundry to sort, right? That was an idea that somebody gave you. You can still create hopscotch inside, so we have to just think, how can we just adapt to these activities? Anything that can be done outside can be done inside too. And for those students that unfortunately don't have access to technology, we have to create drop-off points. We just have to find solutions rather than creating problems and this can't be done. Just find a way to get it done.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. I know a couple of schools that have, you know, teachers who are able to go in, who are not under curfew somewhere in Portmore or wherever, who are able to go in, going to school and actually and photocopy material, put them in a package, leave it at the gate with the security guard so that parents can pick it up. You know, people are just finding ways. I saw this thing on the UNICEF website recently with a guy getting a bicycle and hiring bicycles in the principal hiring bicycles in Westmoreland to deliver material to his.
How wonderful is that?
You know, my heart just, oh my gosh.
But
it's
again,
just so
they're finding a way. You know, a lot of people are so quick to just put their hands up and say, "This is too hard. It's impossible. I don't have this. I don't have that." But there is a way. There is a way. There is a way.
Yeah, I think that we have to find that. So in terms of communicate, yeah, there's a question here. There are many teachers going above and beyond. It's so heartening to hear. I agree, Anna. I mean, these things just make me feel all emotional because I know that it is so, it's hard. It's hard because if I find it hard, I mean, as a parent as well, to just do what I'm doing and my children have a yard that they can play in and them getting information and I still feel stressed out. I just cannot imagine. And then also for a teacher who has her child at home, and then in addition to that, you know, and maybe one device that the teacher has to use to teach, and then her children have to use that same device, and there may be more than one child.
But if we have those recordable moments, Renee, some of those problems that we're having, we can get around. Because if you're on the device, guess what? I get to use it later because I can always go back and check, you know? So we have to provide that as a safety net, you know, that, you know, even if you missed it at this block of time, you're still not lost. You know, there's still a way.
Absolutely. That's good. And I know that that's why they've been, I mean, for students in very remote places who do not have access to Wi-Fi and all of that, the television stations are trying to, you know, show some of this material and have them recorded, and they're partnering with people to do that, the Ministry of Education, which is critical because they can only watch them on television, right? And yeah, so we need to be using all the tools in order to do that. So yeah, so Kim, tell me how you give feedback to kindergarten students and feedback to teachers in this period, I'm not teachers, to parents, to have them know how their children are improving and growing.
Well, one of the things that I've been using in my classroom, and again, is something that I have been using, so the parents are quite knowledgeable of how we do things, but it's Google Photos, right? When the children share videos or pictures, they will share it in Google Photos, and it's something that the parents can upload themselves, or they'll send it to me and I'll upload it. But once that picture is there, I immediately share feedback on that piece of work. But it's not just feedback for that student, it's feedback for everyone, you know, because don't we learn from each other? And when you see somebody do something, isn't that powerful too? Isn't that a learning tool? So I like the fact that the work that they are sharing is not just coming to me, but is shared amongst
everybody,
the group,
right?
Because we're a community of learners, and so that I have found to be very powerful, right? And parents get a chance to see, the students get a chance to see each other's work, and I encourage them to share comments too. You know, what did you like about this person's work? You know, and so it that has been really powerful.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's teaching them. I mean, that's what we do in the world when we become big people, right? We give feedback. We solicit feedback.
We critique.
Sorry?
I said we critique.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how we grow and how we learn. So, I love it. That's so exciting. Please send your questions for Kim. We have her here. So any of you who are teachers and who need to hear any creative ideas, throw them out, and I'm sure there are other people in the chat who will also chime in and give you some ideas as well. So tell me about communicating, you know, like how do we manage communication in this time, you know, to not over communicate, especially with children at this stage. You know, there's so much going on with this whole COVID business, and I think that students we have to manage how they're feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot in this. I think we don't think about them because we're all consuming the news, but they're hearing it too, and they're feeling our vibe and energy. What's your view on that and how we treat with that?
So when we connect with our students, we're not just connecting with them to share today's work, but to chit chat. What are you doing? Just to have a casual conversation, to just have those little moments. I think that within our schedule, we need to provide those moments, where we can just talk and we're not just focused on education, but we're just talking and connecting with each other as human beings. I think that is something that we need to do on a regular basis, if not every day. It's something that I start off the morning with, where we have a little chit chat. We talk about the schedule, yes, but I also just want to chit chat with everybody. How are you feeling today? What mood are you in? So we're just having those little moments with each other. So I think it's important to provide time for that.
Yeah, and do you think parents should be giving space for talking about what's happening with us in a very real way so they have an understanding of what that looks like? How much is too much? How much do we share about what's happening?
Well, the first thing is you have to let your child guide the conversation. And I had one of those real moments with my daughter yesterday. We're seeing each other every day and we're communicating every day. But there was something that I saw in her yesterday that showed me that she wasn't okay. She just sat and she just had this emptiness. And I said, "Are you okay?" And it just started pouring out. "No, I'm not. It's really getting to me, mommy. Especially for those children that are single. Only children. Sorry, it's really really hard because you don't have a sibling to even fight with and be miserable with. You're just by yourself. And I'm constantly entertaining her. She's a very crafty,
especially children who are highly relational and want to chat all the time.
Right. So I thought she was good because we're constantly doing things and having fun, but she wasn't okay. And it showed yesterday and she started to share that with me. And, I said, well, what do you want to do? How can we fix this, and coming up with a plan together, which we did figure out how we're going to fix it, really. But I think communicating and having them lead the discussion and telling you, what they would like to see, and then you then saying, well, this is practical, this is how we can approach it, or we can't do that, we can't invite your friends over right now because, it's real, but this is what we can do, which is one of the things that I did with my daughter is for her to have a themed play date, because one of her complaints is, "Mommy, when I connect with my friends, we don't have anything to talk about, but because when we're together, we're playing, and we're in the moment. When I talk to them, we don't have anything to say and it gets boring."
Yes,
that so I said, you know what? You need a purpose for your conversation. What do you want to do? What would you be doing with them if they were here? Well, I would want to create something, and so they had slime Saturdays where they got together and they all had their ingredients and they were creating slime together and just having, so much fun.
So cool.
Where I could just totally step away and do things that I wanted to do because she was fully engaged. And so, we just have to think about, how we can help them and let them speak before we say too much.
Exactly. You have to wait for those questions and provide the reassurance that we're going to get through this. I see Rebel Hibiscus saying the same thing. Chat with the kids. The world is always going to go topsy-turvy. It's our job to let our kids know that we'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns right side up. Yeah, absolutely. We'll get through it. And I think that the children need constant reassurance. Many of them just want to get back to school. They just miss their friends. They just they're tired of being in this one space and can't understand why they need to go out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to continue to keep that dialogue going.
Yes, and to share your struggles too, which is one of the things I had to say. I said, Layla, I understand. I'm going through it too. I miss doing this and I miss doing that, So I was able to share with her, just how it is affecting me and that you're not alone. But even as an adult, it's hard for me to manage too.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it okay to have a session? Someone is asking, Francine, where no actual work is done, but the teacher takes the time to allow the students to share what is on their minds?
Absolutely. But work is being done because they're speaking, they're thinking. So I don't want it to be considered a lost moment. There's still wonderful things happening as they're expressing themselves.
Yeah, and sometimes if you don't take the time to do that, then you might not accomplish what you're really trying to what you really set out to do. Mm-hmm. So it really is to be mindful and to embrace those moments as teachable ones, right?
Mm-hmm. And for teachers to realize when the children are checking home too, and say, you know what, let's just pause the lesson, and end it here and talk about something else, or so if you realize that, man, this is not working, nobody's looking at me, they're not engaged, then tell a joke really quickly and break the ice and bring them back in.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we always have to be mindful of when it's not working. Someone is saying speaking freely. Yeah, speaking freely and then balancing that with not giving oversharing. Mm-hmm. Which I think we can do. Sometimes they hear us on the phone talking to our friends, talking about how
that's when they're the quietest.
Exactly. That's what happens. That's when they're quiet, when they're passing in your business and reading the lips.
Right.
So it's really important for all of that, because we don't want them to become overly concerned about
and overwhelmed with what is happening in the world, and they can't do anything, so we don't want to burden them, but we want them to be knowledgeable.
Right. Okay. Somebody's saying, what specific activities can you suggest for a math or phonics lesson online for kindergarten? I think that
my thing is games, right? One of the things that we like to play at school is bingo, and that can still be played online. Everybody can create their own bingo card. You can ask each person to get a piece of paper and break it up into, six boxes, and then go ahead and pick any of the sight words that we've been learning. Write those sight words down in your box. That way, everybody has created bingo card that is different, right? And then you just go ahead and play bingo, right? And they can use anything to cover the words, and that's interactive. It's fun. They're creating that game card, which is a learning moment by itself. So that's a really good lesson. For math, again, there are lots of things, just simple things that you can do with just sorting and things like that. I did a lesson. We've been talking about addition, and I asked the students if they had $20, what are some of the things that they would buy, right? And so they created money at home. Their parents priced the things in the refrigerator, and they had to go shopping for the day. So every time they wanted something, they had to take out the money that they created. They had to go shopping in the refrigerator, pay their parents, and then they created the receipt. They're writing, right? They're doing math. It's real world. It's engaging. So, I mean, there's so many little things that you could do. But that was one of the activities that my parents absolutely loved. They're like, thank you for this, And then you had to make change. So it was fun, But handling money and working with numbers in a real way, and working with things that you have in your household that you don't have to go above and beyond. I think that's really great. But
yes,
games is definitely the way to go.
Things in their homes that rhyme with a given word.
Yeah. Playing tic-tac-toe, and you can play tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe is one of those games that you can adapt in many ways, right? Because let's say you're learning shapes, well, then use shapes with tic-tac-toe, there's so many things that you could do.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's wonderful. And just, make Pinterest your friend. Mm-hmm. Look, they have so many wonderful ideas, and teachers at different levels, grade 1, kindergarten, grade 2. Check them out. They're posting all kinds of fun activities and showing you how to create the supplies and what have you. So we're not short of that kind of information. As you say, we need to be information seekers constantly. Mm-hmm. Searching for best practice everywhere, and they're all over Instagram. I follow teachers of Instagram, and so I just see a ton load of ideas that come through, whether they're from teachers or from school leaders or what have you. That's how I get my news.
Likewise, there are so many things. I mean, from those teachers' sites to just things that we do on a regular basis. And I said, wait, this is an awesome teachable moment. How can I incorporate this in the classroom? So, you can go to be super creative or just take it back to the basics, and that works too.
Yeah, tell us some of those basic things, like home things, for people who definitely don't have the resources. Give us another example of that. What we can do around the house.
setting the table, how many forks and knives do we need, is that an even or odd number, it's all about the questioning, because anything, as I said, could be a wonderful activity. It's all about the questioning and how to tap into the learning, so that's just one of the things that came to mind.
I love that.
Use those everyday moments, right? That you're engaging with your child. Because a lot of parents tend to say, I don't have time, and I understand that. But in simple interactions with your child that you're doing, those are teachable moments. So those are the things that you need to tap into. You don't need to go buy special books, it's just what you are already doing that you need to really work with.
Yeah, I agree. The questioning is just so important. Like, every moment can be a teachable one if you're attuned to it. You know what I mean?
And just learning how to extend that. We're a family of 3, but what if we invited 5 more people? Then how many forks and what I mean? It's just just upping it a little bit more. And extending their thinking. Once they've grasped those simple things, then challenge them.
Yeah. To push them forward. Yeah. In very simple ways. Lord Kim, I love it. So just repeat for the people who came on later. I know they can go back and watch this, but the key things that you think parents need to be focusing on at this time, in terms of what they need to be looking for in their child at this time. Tell us that first.
So, as I mentioned, overall, I think the areas that we should focus on is the listening, speaking, literacy, and just math skills and social skills. Those social graces. That's the time to, and those self-help things like tying your shoelace. Your child should not be coming back to school not knowing how to tie their shoelace when you have all of this time on your hands.
Exactly.
Those little things that make them independent, that help them to pace themselves better throughout the day because they can do it and they're not waiting on somebody else. Those little things. Those simple little things are things that we can spend time doing also. But the listening, speaking, and the literacy and math, those are the things that we need to focus on and incorporate other science and social studies concepts within that.
Right, and then give our teachers a little bit of, like, how do they prepare? How do they set aside time and organize themselves, their lives, plus the work they have to do for the students, and then come up with these grand lessons? Like,
balance is everything. You have a balance. You have to balance yourself. I find that I'm up late in the night because that's when I get a chance to focus. So some of my wow moments, some of my great thinking moments, and great fantastic ideas happen when everybody else is sleeping and my mind is free, the house is quiet, can be comfortable. That's when I have it. I mean, you just have to figure out that balance in your life. I can't really speak to that, but you have to find that balance.
Yeah.
For me, working out is something that I used to do, but I didn't get a chance to do anymore because I have to wake up early to go to school. So those are one of the things that I get to enjoy now, and those are the things that help me to get mentally ready, where I can get up and I say, okay, I'm going to do a little workout. And guess what? I get my child involved in that too.
Right.
He has that energy to burn. So I say, come, work out with mommy. And we do our little morning workout routine to get ready for day, So finding time for those little things and doing those wellness checks with yourself, so important.
Exactly. Self-care amidst all of this, right? Yeah, man. I see a question here. How can we keep the boys more engaged in online classes? I'm having a hard time with my 7 and 10-year-old sons keeping focused during class. Do boys really learn differently than girls? No, this is a heavy question in the night here. Help.
Of course, they learn differently, right? And I think you need to really find out what your child is interested in. Like I told you that story with my child, she's really very creative and crafty. So I try to find ways of engaging her that way, So I think that's really important. Also, understanding when they've had enough, especially with this online learning, and when they have been glued and they have tapped out. I mean, why are they still there? They're not learning anything. So if they need to to come off of class for a minute, to just take a few minutes to just breathe and come back again. I think that's important.
Right. Yeah. I do believe they learn differently. So I think that you have to know your child, and you have to
and boys are
give them the
competitive.
breaks, be mindful.
So if you're playing lots
Yes,
of games with them, they love that.
Yep.
They love that.
Always wanting to be first. Well, I have one who must be first.
And adding some physical activity in that, if your child is learning some words, send them on a word hunt, put the words around the house. If you want them to do it quickly, give them a time. Say you have 5 minutes to find all of these words.
Oh my
right?
God, they so love timers. Once that timer goes on.
And it's teaching them time in a real way too. So, I mean, as I said, I think now is a good time to connect with our children. We thought we knew them, but we can know them even better. And that's how we're going to make it work.
Nikki is saying that online school is cruel and unusual punishment for her 7-year-old sons. I get it, Nix.
And it just depends on how that online learning is set up, right?
Right. Right.
So our experiences are all different. Some people are loving it right now. Not that they don't miss the social interaction, but it's exciting to do something different, and learn in a different way.
For sure. Rebel Hibiscus is saying little kids should not have more than 2 to 3 hours of instruction, and work should be expected in 25 to 35-minute increments, because we all check out after that. It's exactly as big people, we're like done.
Hi Eden, by the way.
Oh yeah, hi Eden.
I have to shout out to Eden real quickly.
Right. So timers are my lifesavers. Yes. Oh my gosh. Once I put my timer on, my child Luca
gets moving.
What? He's like, I'm going to show you, right?
Yeah. And again, because boys are competitive. But guess what? He's in competition with himself, and that's wonderful too.
Exactly. And yes, he's in competition with himself. Okay. But that's how Usain Bolt was. I'm encouraged. Hopefully he will be just like him. A legend. Okay. So, yes, I'm going to record this. Kim Edwards. I don't want us to get kicked off, and I'm just getting the signal that it's time to wrap up. So I'm going to try.
Really, we've been talking for that long.
1 whole hour. You love chat. So,
when we're passionate.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to thank you for the work that you do. I want to thank you for also availing yourself to train other teachers, which is what you and I have been doing a bit of recently. I'm really grateful, and I think that this is how we have to collaborate, especially now. I think it's going to be important for us to share what we know, and support each other along the way, because that is the only way this thing is going to work. That with each one helping one. So I'm super grateful for you, and thank you for hopping on here.
Thank you, Renee, and thank you for everyone who tuned in.
Yes,
the questions and the support and the conversation. It was time well spent. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you. Whoa. Hi, Francine. Hi, everybody. Okay. So there'll be more of these. I have a number of them coming up. So please tune in and share them as you see them. Thank you, everybody. Just be calm, be chilled,
breathe.
And
we're all in this.
We're all in this together. Exactly. All right, great. Take care. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right.